Welcome to the Thyroid Fixxr podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Amie, and we're diving deep into the world of hormones, especially for all you fierce women in perimenopause and menopause, and everyone struggling with hypothyroidism. So if you are battling weight gain, you're feeling like shedding those pounds is an impossible feat, if you're dealing with plummeting energy levels, gut-wrenching fatigue, or a libido that seems to have left town, then you're in the right place. And let's not even start on the hair loss. If these symptoms are sounding all too familiar, you have found your tribe. My goal is to educate, empower, and shake up your world. Remember, I want you to embrace every inch of that badass woman that you truly are. So if you're ready to dive in and fix things, let's go. Did you ever come home from a really long day, your energy's drained, and you just want to sit down and watch Netflix and eat a good dinner, but you got to still squeeze in your workout? So how about if you actually got home at 7 and your workout was done by 7:05? Does that blow your mind? You're already done. You're unwinding. That's the reality with Carol Bike. In just 5 minutes, you experience a workout that is scientifically proven to be as effective as a 45-minute run. Carol isn't just a time saver. It's your literal shortcut to health, happiness, better muscles, lower body fat, leaving you more time for what actually matters in life, like watching Netflix and eating a great dinner. So if you want to check out Carol Bike, they give you a warranty, a trial period that is unmatched. They'll even come get it if you don't like it. 30 days. I mean, who can even beat that? So check it out. Go to carolbike.com, carolbike.com. You're going to use the code Dr. Amie if you grab one of these bad boys, which I highly recommend doing. You're going to use the code Dr. Amie. That is going to save you $100 off. And again, there's no risk. There's no risk. Try it for 30 days. If you don't like it, they will come pick it up. But I guarantee you the time-saving aspect, the muscle building aspect, the fat burning aspect, you're just going to love it. Let's talk about aging and how to age better. Research suggests that a big contributor to poor aging is senescent cells, better known as zombie cells. They're old, worn out cells that can linger in your body after their useful function, wasting your energy and nutritional resources on them. As we age, senescent cells often accumulate in our bodies, contributing to sluggish energy, less flexibility, slower workout recovery, or simply put, the middle-aged feeling. But in the last 10 years, research has come out that has identified plant-derived ingredients, which can actually help our bodies naturally eliminate these zombie senescent cells. These ingredients are called senolytics. The easiest way to get complete senolytic support is a formula I love called Qualia Senolytic. It's almost like a monthly cleanse for aging. You take Qualia Senolytic just 2 days a month, and it's loaded with science-backed vegan senolytic ingredients that help your body naturally eliminate the zombie cells. It can literally help your body feel 10 years younger in just a couple months. I've been doing it the last few months, and I'm just happy that I'm doing it. I know I'm doing a good thing for my body. So you want to go to neurohacker.com/thyroid to try senolytic with a 100-day money-back guarantee. You can't beat that. And the code thyroid will also get you 15% off your first order. So that's neurohacker.com, neurohacker.com/thyroid, THYROID, for Qualia Senolytic. And remember the code thyroid for 15% off to start aging better. We're talking about pregnenolone, and this is a hormone that when I dove into all of the benefits, not just the surface benefits that you hear about ad nauseum, what does pregnenolone do? It's great for the adrenals. There's such thing as pregnenolone steal when your adrenal glands need to steal that hormone to make cortisol. But when you dive into all the other benefits of pregnenolone, it's pretty jaw-dropping, very eye-opening. And just like black cumin seed oil, just like iodine, when you dive into the benefits, it becomes one of those where you tilt your head and you go, wait, why aren't we all taking this? Because the benefits are tremendous. Why aren't more people talking about this? Because the benefits are tremendous. So first, let's start with what is pregnenolone. It is a steroid hormone and it's synthesized from cortisol. It is synthesized from cholesterol. This is why we need cholesterol and we don't want to be taking statins to lower our cholesterol to basement numbers, because then you don't have the building blocks to actually produce sex hormones. So pregnenolone is dependent on having enough cholesterol to make pregnenolone. Now, it originates in the brain and in the adrenal glands. And here's the tie-in to cortisol that we'll get to in a moment. But it's also made in organs such as the skin, liver, ovaries, and even your retina. So there's a direct correlation between pregnenolone and eyesight that we'll get to. The adrenal glands make the most pregnenolone. It's one of the building blocks of progesterone, of testosterone, and then, like we said, cortisol, because your adrenal glands will steal pregnenolone to make cortisol. Now, will the body steal pregnenolone to make progesterone and testosterone? Kind of, but it will just use it. It's not going to steal it. But since pregnenolone is in a hormonal cascade and it's a precursor to progesterone and testosterone, it's just required to make those two sex hormones. The adrenal glands work a little bit differently in that they will actually kind of reach over and grab pregnenolone and pull it down and say, you know what, since we're not making enough cortisol here to support the stress level that you have, we're going to steal pregnenolone, and we can use that as a building block to make more cortisol, because your adrenal glands have shit the bed and they're not making enough cortisol. And you are under loads of stress and you're taxing your adrenals to the point where they're shitting the bed. So that's where the pregnenolone steal comes in. But otherwise, I want you to think of pregnenolone as a precursor to testosterone and progesterone. Now, there is a tie-in to estradiol as well. And here's the thing. If you're on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, you can still take pregnenolone because it's not going to artificially push up. And actually, you should still take pregnenolone after we go over all the benefits and you hear all the applications of it, because it's not strong enough to take you from a non-optimal testosterone to an optimal. It's not strong enough to take you from a non-optimal progesterone where you're not sleeping and you're cranky and agitated to an optimal level of progesterone. It just simply won't do that. So you still need that pregnenolone as that precursor building block in your body. And it's just going to help your body make more progesterone, testosterone, and other crucial hormones. Now, it's tie-in before we move on. It's important to note that those with hypothyroidism, which are many of you listening, will have low pregnenolone. It's just that tie-in to having hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, being in that non-optimized or low thyroid state. Your body will simply not be able to make enough pregnenolone. So in addition to having adequate amounts of cholesterol, you have to have adequate amounts of thyroid hormone. Those are the two must-haves in order for your body to have enough pregnenolone in your system to reap all of the different benefits that are given to us by pregnenolone. So why is it so important? Maintaining hormonal balance, obviously, we know is key. That's what we talk about on the show all the time. And I want you to feel good too. I want you to have energy. I want you to have a sex drive. I want you to have a healthy weight. I want you to be able to think. I want you to be able to poop every day. So having your body operate at a high level and having an optimal life too, where you're moving through each day, tackling life and tackling the stressors of life, but not being taken down, not having to lay on the couch, not being wiped out for 5 days, not gaining 10 pounds because of that stress. That's where I want your body. I want you in that optimal state. So when we're looking at pregnenolone, it specifically works to regulate the balance between all of the sex hormones and then cortisol and DHEA. So we have progesterone, testosterone, estradiol, cortisol, and DHEA. And then pregnenolone is kind of coming in between and balancing all of those, making sure that the body has enough of them. Now, obviously, we need hormones for life. I mean, all of the sex hormones, all of the hormones that I just mentioned help you live a better life, a higher quality of life, but also help you deal with the stressors of life. And we know, whenever we say stress, we automatically think adrenals and cortisol, and we forget about all of the other hormones' roles in our ability to cope with stress. And this is one reason why, as we age, you'll hear both males and females talk about their lowered ability to deal with stressful situations that they once were able to deal with, let's say in their 20s and 30s. That stress adaptation level goes down because of the decline in all of our hormones. As we build those hormones back up, we see a greater resilience to life stressors and the ability to think through and process and cognitively work through a stressor rather than crumble and become exhausted. Now, having the right amount of cortisol, DHEA, progesterone, pregnenolone, testosterone, and estradiol is true whether you're in a high stress lifestyle, work-life balance, all of that, or if you're dealing with environmental stressors or an illness stressor. You want to have all of those hormones built up because we're not just talking about being hit blindsided by a life stressor, but what about all the environmental stressors that we're bombarded with? You get on a plane, you're bombarded with radiation. You walk outside and the air you breathe or the water you drink if you don't have a filtration system on. The chemicals that we're putting on ourselves every single day, that is a stressor. That's an environmental stressor. And then any kind of illness, Hashimoto's, Lyme disease, Epstein-Barr virus, which 99.999% of us have. I'm still waiting to find that one person that doesn't have EBV. All of those are the illnesses that our body has to deal with too. And those are a stressor as well. So pregnenolone was actually recognized as early as the 1930s when we began studying it for its important benefits to the brain. So this is where my history, as I've shared openly on this show, of my mother dying from Alzheimer's, her father, my grandfather, passing from Alzheimer's as well, and me having the APOE4 gene. I have one SNP out of two on that genetic mutation, which means that genetically I am set up for Alzheimer's, but epigenetically I'm doing everything I can to avoid that. And one of those steps in my litany of protocols to avoid Alzheimer's is taking pregnenolone daily because of the benefits to the brain. So it actually works to influence the brain's function in memory, learning, mood, and cognitive function. And then people with those neuroinflammatory diseases like Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's in the early stages actually show a lower level of pregnenolone, which indicates that this hormone can also benefit the body by reducing inflammation in the brain and protecting the immune system. Now, if I could go back in time, and I was having this conversation the other day with a friend, if I could go back in time and I knew back then when my mom was first diagnosed with Alzheimer's, if I knew back then what I know now, and we're talking about 2008, 2009 were the first signs of her Alzheimer's or dementia coming on. If I could have gotten her on hormones, if I could have started on pregnenolone, if I could have started her on berberine to lower insulin and changed her diet, I truly believe that she would be here with us today and be functioning at a perfectly normal level. Now, you might still see some brain blips or a few memory jogs, but her dementia and Alzheimer's was severe. And the progression, if any of you have ever gone through that, you can't even explain it to somebody who hasn't. The progression was horrible. You literally lose that person over time to where they cannot talk. They can't go to the bathroom themselves anymore. They are just staring into space, looking at you. I mean, it's actually hard to talk about. But if we can do something to prevent that decline in your loved ones or in ourselves, then let's do that, because that is one disease that you never, ever, I mean, there's no disease that you want somebody to go through, but that is a rough disease. They call it the long goodbye for a reason, because to put it in perspective, I said her symptoms started in 2008, 2009 when I trace it back, and she passed away in 2021. So that was over a decade of decline, of watching this slow decline happen to a person's brain. So let's do things about it. Studies show that women who choose to take pregnenolone supplementation to protect their brain, to improve memory function, particularly as a result of early onset Alzheimer's or having a familial history of Alzheimer's, what they're finding is it actually helps address symptoms of trauma and TBI and PTSD, and it improves their coping skills with stress. It actually also helps promote healing from injuries, and it boosts the immune system. So we're seeing it helping with autoimmune diseases like psoriasis, scleroderma, and other skin conditions. So that's a positive bonus. We're also finding that pregnenolone helps to plump the skin. So just like we talk about estrogen's effect on the skin at reducing wrinkles, pregnenolone has a very similar, a little bit less of a potent direct effect, because we would be taking pregnenolone internally, whereas we can put estradiol or estriol on our face topically. We're taking this internally. So it's very similar to using a collagen supplement to boost your elasticity of your skin, your collagen production, decrease wrinkles. Pregnenolone would be working on that plane. Pregnenolone also helps with fatigue and boosts your energy. Now, this is exciting because, as we know, thyroid patients deal with low fatigue anyways. And then thyroid patients are going to have low pregnenolone. Pregnenolone comes in as we are hopefully optimizing the thyroid, and pregnenolone will come in and help with that symptom of crushing fatigue, like so many thyroid patients have. Now, fatigue can also come on from low hormone function. So as we're aging, pregnenolone drops, all the hormones drop, and then that can result in excessive fatigue as well. We can also use pregnenolone to address fibrocystic breast disease and endometriosis. So this is exciting for women of all ages with fibrocystic breasts or endometriosis. This will help alleviate those symptoms. Another common use is alleviating symptoms of menopause, the hot flashes, the weight gain, the fatigue that comes with that, the night sweats, sleep problems, vaginal dryness, and then as well as for my younger ladies, PMS, painful uterine cramping, PMDD, mood swings, irritability, and then for everyone, depression, bloating, and again, difficulty sleeping or sleep issues not related to menopause. You see where I'm coming from, where we dive into the benefits of, and then it's like, whoa, wait a minute. This is way more than just brain function. This is way more than just helping with the adrenals and helping with stress. This is huge. This is big news. It's very exciting news. Other uses of pregnenolone, studies are showing helps with swelling and inflammation associated with arthritis. Again, kind of coming back to the skin, because this is a outside of the box thinking. Pregnenolone may also help enable the skin to maintain its elasticity, slowing or reversing wrinkles and lines. That's directly from a study. This supplement may alleviate feelings of depression and hopelessness, strengthen the heart's ability to circulate blood throughout the body, and improve the ability to withstand different levels of exercise. So for those over-exercising, doing CrossFit, you're doing all the things to try to lose the weight from the low thyroid function or from the low hormone function, pregnenolone is going to help improve your ability to withstand those different levels of exercise and the stress that comes with it. Additionally, it can help reduce symptoms of autoimmune disorders like MS, lupus, or other hereditary afflictions like seizures. This is all, again, acting on the brain, because pregnenolone will cross the blood-brain barrier and work directly on the brain itself. Women who suffer from depression, stress, and anxiety, or other mood disorders may find relief from taking this in supplemental form. In addition, like we said earlier, it can help improve sleep quality and duration, which then also has more beneficial impact on mood regulation and just mental well-being overall. Women who are trying to lose weight may notice benefits from pregnenolone because it increases your energy, improves sleep quality. So that's going to come back, obviously, and balance out your blood sugar and help with weight loss. You're going to feel like you can exercise more often and just want to move your body because of the increased energy. It also may inhibit the production of cortisol, excess cortisol, that is, which can cause weight gain, which, that excess cortisol usually is stress induced. And when we lower that excess cortisol, we have better blood sugar control, we reduce our bloating, and we reduce those fat deposits in the midsection associated with increased cortisol levels. So pregnenolone is not working directly as a fat burner per se, but in giving you more energy and improving your sleep and reducing your excess cortisol, you're going to reduce the fat deposition on your midsection and have better blood sugar control, thus being a fat burner rather than a sugar burner. Lack of focus or learning difficulties. This is where we see pregnenolone being used in perimenopause, menopause, early years, and in situations of ADD, ADHD, and autism because of its effect on the brain. It boosts brain power. Pregnenolone helps the brain regulate myelin, and then the brain then benefits from the increased protection surrounding its neurons. And then these can move more quickly, form new synapses in the brain, and then that's going to improve memory, learning, and cognition. So you can see how we can use pregnenolone across the board in all age groups, depending on the brain inflammation that is occurring at that time. I'm always looking for the best products to partner up with to support the podcast and to give you guys really cool stuff that you can do and implement. So I recently partnered with Jasper, the world's best air purifier. And when I was thinking about what should I read for this ad, Mike, who's the founder of Jasper, emailed asking how my Jasper experience was going. So this is the exact email I sent to him. Hi, Mike. When I first plugged in my Jasper, it instantly flagged the air quality in my house was poor, showing red on its indicator. It was a bit of a shock, honestly, but within 3 hours, it worked its magic, improving the air quality to a healthy green status by removing particles from the air. What really blew me away was how it automatically amps up whenever I start cooking. I had no clue that just preparing meals could introduce so many particles into the air. And it's been enlightening and comforting to see Jasper kick into high gear to clean up as I cook. But here's the most fascinating part. After moving into our new house, my hair began turning orange, and I assumed it was the water. However, a visit from the water filtration experts unveiled that it was actually due to an airborne bacteria attracted to water and soap. Here's the kicker. Since moving Jasper closer to my bathroom and bedroom, my hair has stopped changing colors. I've ditched the harsh shampoos that I was using that just did nothing good for my hair, broke my hair. And Jasper's all I need now. It's not just an air cleaner. It's been a personal savior in ways I never expected. Just had to share this with you. Jasper has truly made a difference in my life. All the best, Dr. Amie. Mike replied to my email saying, that's the ad. Don't change a thing. And Jasper is giving an amazing discount to my listeners. So if you use the code Dr. Amie, DRAMIE, you're going to save $100 off of any Jasper. You're going to go to jasper.co. Now, you can go to jasper.co/Dr. Amie, but you want to use the code Dr. Amie at checkout so you can save some money. Do it. Let me know your experience. Email me with your experience. Now, here's another big one for you. Those, and this is going to tie back into weight as well, those suffering from cravings, so drug or alcohol cravings, sugar cravings. Pregnenolone actually helps to come in and boost dopamine, which is directly involved with all addictions, with all cravings and addictions, whether it's sugar or cocaine. You are lighting up that same part of your brain with a cocaine addiction as you are with a sugar addiction. And it all comes down to dopamine and the seeking of that dopamine pulse. A 2002 study found that results from pregnenolone for people with a cocaine use disorder, they got a drug addiction. Those who took 300 milligrams or 500 milligrams of pregnenolone daily, which is a very high dose, we'll talk about dosing in a moment, after 2 weeks had reduced stress and cue-induced cravings for this drug. The group taking 500 milligrams daily also had reductions in their stress and cue-induced anxiety levels. In a 2023 study involving 43 people with alcohol use disorder, Those taking 300 milligrams of pregnenolone daily had fewer alcohol cravings after being exposed to a stress or typical drinking cues. And then we also see multiple studies on sugar and food addictions as well. So again, bonus, right? For those of you, and I have a couple of patients like this, that they have very, very strong sugar and food addictions, cravings that are physiological. They almost overtake the body. And this is where we'll often want to balance out the blood sugar and insulin. That's hands down across the board, because whenever we have sugar cravings, we look for that dysregulated blood sugar, that roller coaster of glucose and insulin, which can induce cravings, because in a biological state of low blood sugar, your body is going to tell you, hey, go to the vending machine, go get some sugar, go get some carbohydrates, because that's the only thing that is going to bring us out of this low. And then we send ourselves on that roller coaster by reaching for the sugar. And now we're spiking high, and then we're dropping low again. And then we're spiking high and we're dropping low again. And it's a roller coaster mess. By adding in the berberine and balancing that out, and then stacking the pregnenolone on top of it to produce more dopamine and balance our hormones and improve our stress response, now we have better blood sugar control. Now we have better brain function. Now we have better weight control, and we don't crave carbohydrates and sugar like we once did. So let's go over just some FAQs. How do I know? How do I know if I need to take pregnenolone? Well, number one, you can take a test. And the optimal range for pregnenolone on most labs, I will say I have seen some really funky labs for pregnenolone, but on most labs is the middle of the range or above, like that upper quadrant. So middle to upper quadrant of the range is where we really want to be. So on most labs, that pregnenolone will get flagged high after it crests a 151. Where I like to see my patients is 100, like right around like 90 to 100, maybe even 120, something like that. That is a beautiful arena, a beautiful range to be in for pregnenolone. Now, many of you I have seen come in at a 10 or 20, or it's non-existent. And that is a problem. And that is a time to add in pregnenolone. Now, some other warning signs to be aware of that might indicate that you could benefit from taking pregnenolone. One is age, because the older we get, the more health problems begin to present. And many of these issues are rooted in hormonal imbalance, as we know. So if your body's begun that slow the production of certain hormones, progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, cortisol, thyroid hormones, or the lab tests indicate that your body is not metabolizing hormones at the same rate it once was, then you should add in pregnenolone. Pregnenolone can help ease women into the aging process and really calm down some of the sudden uncomfortable symptoms that y'all may be experiencing with menopause and just getting older. And just even the appearance of these symptoms is a sign that you should consider pregnenolone and definitely get all of your hormones checked, because we can fix those and we can do bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Now, pregnenolone differs from BHRT in that you actually don't need a prescription for it. Thank goodness. So why would we go and beg our doctor for pregnenolone when it's available over the counter? Thank God this is one hormone that the DEA or FDA has not gotten a hold of to say you can't make that in the supplemental form, because we can. And we are allowed to sell it over the counter to you, so you can experience the benefits without having to beg your doctor to please, please, please give me some bioidentical hormone replacement. If your hormones are fluctuating, we know that they're going to have an effect on your day-to-day life. You're going to have issues concentrating and remembering tasks, names, conversations. You're going to gain weight. You're going to be tired. I mean, adding in pregnenolone would be that first step, even before you get into the BHRT world. If you're experiencing excessive fatigue, sleepiness, lack of energy, it's preventing you from enjoying life and being productive. This may be another indication of hormonal imbalance due to decreased pregnenolone. Other physical symptoms to look for: dry skin in the form of psoriasis or scleroderma. We know that that is autoimmune related. Joint pain and inflammation, muscle stiffness and sensitivity, Some women report their sex drive has decreased or become non-existent. This can be pregnenolone or testosterone. How much pregnenolone? Usually the typical dose is around 30 milligrams. You can go higher in clinical settings. Dosing can be taken up to 100. You really want to be working with someone who knows what they're doing if you do go up that high, but the typical dose is 30 milligrams. That is what is in Pregnenolone Fixxr that is out now. The reason why I made Pregnenolone Fixxr is because of all of these beautiful effects of pregnenolone on the body. So you want to be just aware of any hormonal side effects that might be popping up when you start pregnenolone. If you start breaking out at all, which is very, very rare. If you start, I'm trying to see what the other possible side effects, they're really, really mild. I mean, they're usually canceled out by the benefits, but just be aware of them. Some women will experience fatigue, increased fatigue instead of decreased fatigue. It shouldn't do that. Headaches, but these symptoms usually manifest in isolation when you're not doing anything else that could contribute to them as well. So you want to be aware that if you do have increased fatigue, what's your thyroid doing? Where's your testosterone at? If you have increased headaches, let's check that estrogen progesterone balance, or you might need an increase in your progesterone as well. I wouldn't directly tie it back to pregnenolone unless you add in the pregnenolone and a symptom starts and then you remove it and the symptom goes away and then you put it back in and the symptom starts again. Then you can, by doing that protocol, you can determine, okay, yes, this is a direct tie into me adding in pregnenolone. So I hope this helps you understand all of the benefits of pregnenolone so you can make an informed decision as to whether or not to add it into your supplement repertoire. But it seems pretty amazing to me. So I'm kind of excited about it. Like I said, just like black cumin seed oil, when I first released Hashimoto's Fixxr, I knew black cumin seed oil was the bomb. It was amazing. But here's the thing. It does so many other things in addition to lowering Hashimoto antibodies. And when I dug into the research, black cumin seed oil became a no-duh supplement, as in, no duh, you're taking it every day because of all the benefits. Pregnenolone for any woman any woman or man, really, over the age of 40, because this benefits both sexes. This is not a female hormone. This is for both sexes. If you're over the age of 40, you should really consider adding in pregnenolone. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I hope you loved it. And as always, if you would be so kind to leave a review if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, that would be absolutely amazing. I read all of them. Also, anything that you hear on this podcast is not intended to diagnose or treat any kind of medical condition. So we always recommend that you check with your medical provider, your doctor, your nurse practitioner before implementing anything that you hear on this podcast. And if you want to find out more about working together, you can click the link below in the show notes to book a discovery call. And there you'll be talking to a member of my team. They are an extension of me. They are amazing. And you and I will talk after that once we get you all signed up and you and I get to work together. All right. I hope to see you soon.